Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this show runs through the ages. Sinners and saints, goblins and haints, but beware as they say we're contagious. Sick with the truth, we uncover the lies. We beat on the drums as they march side by side. Wake up, my dear friends, and smell that fresh roast. Last night shall no longer exist. You're here by yourself, but you're never alone, as we spin stories you'll hear in the mist. Reptilians and greys, we folk who stay hidden. Mysterious booms, archaeology forbidden. Stay away from the village, keep off of the moors. There's a lady in white and bloodstains on the floor. So sit back and relax, take the load off your feet, as we're here to amaze, entertain, and complete. You see, my name is John, and Stacey's here too, and my, do we have something in store for you. Welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow, with your host, authors of Till Death and Beyond, John and Stacey Edwards of ParanormalSideshow.com. Hello, and welcome to, the Paranormal Sideshow. I'm your host, John Edwards, and joined as always by my lovely wife, Stacey.
Hello.
And we're changing this up again. That's right.
We're just never satisfied.
We're not satisfied. It's a new year.
It is a new year.
We tried to do this damn episode 55 times. 55 times every day for the last 55 days, even though it's not been that long since we did one. We were trying to do this show before we did the last show. Mm-hmm. And we were like, we got to do that show. So we went from having a 2020 year in review to 2020. So obviously I don't like to say on this show. And when I do, Stacey will put in some nice little, maybe a horn or a bicycle horn or something like that.
I'll find something or a beat. Appropriate.
But I would call this one 2020. Yeah, but I couldn't put that in the iTunes description.
No.
I could.
We could use, stars and symbols.
We could put stars and symbols.
Mm-hmm.
We could just call the episode Stars and Symbols. Lots of stars and symbols. So anyway, we had this thing going where we were going to do we were going to start off with the headline news, and then we were doing the kind of like our old intro stuff in the middle, and then coming back with the less than headline news. And really what happened was we decided to go another route and actually cut out the pieces for YouTube with their own little descriptive picture or whatever on the cool stuff, like all the news stories, all the little conversations, and that way it's easily accessible for all of you. Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't have time to listen to the entire podcast at one time and you like clips, you can do it on YouTube. And it's pretty cool. I would actually tell you to get the YouTube Premium because I do it. And the cool thing about YouTube Premium, anybody who listens to YouTube a lot, if you get that, you can actually click your phone off and it still plays. That's the whole gimmick with YouTube.
That's the only reason we pay for it.
Yeah, that's not true. But it's so I don't have to suffer through commercials, or better yet, people in the room with me don't have to suffer through me suffering through commercials. Mm-hmm. How bad is that, Stacey?
It's not bad.
Let me tell you, especially when it's one of those double deals. Mm-hmm. And there was something political going on, and this is like a year ago. I forget what it was this time, but oh my God, it was the rich guy that was running, stupid butt from New York. Even his own party didn't like him.
Right, and he had the worst commercials.
Bloomberg.
Yeah.
So Bloomberg, do you guys remember when Bloomberg bought the internet in 2020? And all of a sudden you're like, honestly, that guy may have had a chance if he hadn't have, been himself. It's one of those, like every 5 seconds, it was like, I'm Michael Bloomberg. Are you? Is that who you are? I can't remember who you are from a minute ago. It was a long enough year, but it's funny because that is one of the ones I forgot, like one of those little annoying things. I had a whole list of annoyances, and I was like, you know what? Everybody has a list of annoyances from 2020. And then I was like, I don't really care. The more I thought about it, we had to because we were on West Forsyth's show and Scarefest Radio, and we had a great time on there. I do encourage you to go there and listen to that episode because he went like uber long with us. 4 or 5 times as long as they go on that show.
Right.
And just because we're best friends. We love Wes and Anita. We absolutely love them and wish they lived closer to us. But, we had just a great time. It's a great show anyway. Every Friday night it's live. And, it's a video show, so you can watch it on Facebook Live, or you can go to the website and watch it on scarefesttelevision.com or whatever. It might be TV. I don't know. We'll put the links up.
Yes, we did our whole 2020, year in review on that show because it was right at the beginning of January.
Yeah, and we were doing this show right after that show on January 1st. And you're right. That's
that
what
worked out great.
Yeah, it worked out really good, didn't it? But it's not like in the interim I wasn't doing anything. So I started this little podcast, little ditty about Jack and Diane. It's about 2 American kids growing up in the heartland. Sorry. But Jackie's going to be a football star. I can't help it. It's like
you have to finish it.
Well, I mean, there's all kinds of things like that. You know me. I can't stop until I finish. I mean, it's just like one of those things. So anyway, you guys know that every now and then, rarely, I might talk about wrestling, or have some kind of wrestling thing.
I mean, occasionally.
Yeah. I mean, it's not very much. I agree. No. So anyway, I took that little minute part of myself and got another little minute part of myself, and we made a podcast. Raja and I, or Stacey Ganger, we've got a new podcast, and it's BT Wrestling Pod. Well, that's the social for it, because that's the same social media on everything. So I'm not saying go join it, regardless, like if you like wrestling or not, and, if you're just strictly paranormal and weird. Like that's what you like, not that you're paranormal and weird, although you probably are if you're still here. But you need to go there, you need to like it, do all that stuff for me for all the socials, and then you can mute it. It's really simple. Just forget it. Let it be like your dead Aunt Grace that you never deleted off Facebook. You still see her blank picture, and it just says Grace, and you're like, man, that's dead Aunt Grace. This is not a real aunt. It's like a third aunt or whatever they call those. It's somebody you've seen every few decades.
At the reunions.
Yeah, at the reunion when you were 8, and she found you when you were like 28 on Facebook, and you felt really close to her because the rest of your family knows you and hates you. So your dead Aunt Grace from, Botswana gets a hold of you and is like, oh, hey, how you doing, Mandy? Oh, I really missed you, Mandy. And it starts talking about all this stuff, and it's a cool little thing for a couple years till she dies. How many of those are on your Facebook? I know how many are on mine. Not an exact number, but I'm guessing 100 or so dead people, maybe more.
Maybe.
I literally was sending things out for the new wrestling podcast, and I seen all kinds of dead people. Like I'm like, oh hey, that guy's dead. And that guy's dead.
You should probably clean out your friends list.
Well, it was like a different function. I would have to like back out of what I was doing, and I had already picked like 130 people.
Oh, I see.
Because I don't just send all. I send it to people that are actually in wrestling.
Right. Or you think might be interested.
Yeah, and I try not to send it to the paranormal only people.
Right. I got you. That's very nice of you.
I try.
How considerate.
Yeah, I'm not just going to spam you. That would be ridiculous.
I think the point is if you are a wrestling fan, you should check out the podcast because it is really good.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. I'm part of it.
It's called Blind Tag Wrestling Podcast.
Yes.
That's the full title, correct?
Yes. It's Blind Tag Wrestling Podcast. And the reason it's called that is because you'll never see it coming. It's we talk about whatever we want. It's like whatever we want. We cuss there too, which is a lot of fun.
You can get it all out of your system.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It feels so free and inviting. I don't cuss that much. I really don't, but I do let a couple slip on there. And the cool thing, man, it's the concept of it is whatever the hell we want it from week to week, and there's a lot of cool things we got planned. And first episode went really good. It's up there. You need to check it out. It's at least a supplemental for in between us. And the plan is for our 2021, we've only got one major New Year's resolution as a team. each one of these babies are going to have an episode each week. So it's not that that's undoable. We have a schedule. I'm not going to tell you what my upload date is, but we'll talk about it in a few weeks once we've hit it for 3 weeks. But
once we've reached that goal.
Yeah. The goal is simple. We want to take over the world, and we really need your help. Okay. So this is a really big ask. I mean, it's a big round ask, big old juicy ask. And what we're asking you is to rub that ask for us and get out the vote. You know what I mean? Like, let's do this. Let's start to heal. So I need you to make this a wonderful year. 2021, we need some positivity.
We do.
God knows we need some positivity. We've all had some bummers, right? We've all had some stinkers. We've all had some air poofs that have landed in inopportune times. I know I've had one of the most depressing couple of weeks in my entire life ever. So I need it as well, and we need that healing. And part of my healing is talking to you cats. But if you want to do something really good, really positive, I'm being serious on this. Go to paranormalsideshow.com. It'll give you all the information for everywhere you need to go to for our socials, and go on there. And if you don't like it, go on there and please like the Facebook. Interact with us. I want, as part of our resolution, I really want to make sure that we're interacting. We're talking about weird stuff. We're talking about cool stuff. I'm actually going to try to catch up with my messenger, and it's bad. It's bad. I got like 130 some unread messages. Okay, that's not because I stare at them. Trust me. It's because it's been a really bad couple of weeks. Not with us, and we're freaking hashtagger all the time. I mean, that's everything's good at his house. It's in the world.
Yes, life in general.
Life with the general.
Something like that.
We didn't buy the damn car insurance. The bastard sits on the couch all the time. And you know how the general can be. But anyway, the Patreon, all right, so we're getting active in that again. We've got some new merch. It's going to be uploading on paranormalsideshow.com. So you could be seeing it by the time you're listening to this, if you're listening at the first of the week. But we've got some new shirts and some fun stuff that we're putting some action and work into. And talking about the YouTube, that's going to be a lot of fun doing the clips. A lot of fun. So share the clips, share the YouTube, share the love, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the podcast in some shape, form, or fashion. And please spread the news. Spread it out there. Spread it like butter, like hot butter on a July afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Just really put that out there, like pre-COVID. Spread it. I want like little droplets, air droplets everywhere. Paranormal Sideshow, and just infecting people's minds, because that's what we need. And patreon.com/paranormal sideshow. If you're not already a patron, I hear that if you become a patron, Jack will leave you alone from Twitter, and you can post whatever you want. I have that on good authority from Jack himself. I think that guy works all the time.
Probably.
Because looking at him, I don't look like I've ever seen Jack off. So anyway,
wow.
What?
Nothing.
Where's your mind at?
I'm right here at the table.
You surprise me, Stacey. You really surprise me sometimes. Have you been having any weird dreams? That's a no. I see it on your face.
I haven't had anything that I remember as being weird.
Do you even remember that you have dreams?
Yes, you didn't let me finish my statements.
I'm sorry. I'll shut up. Shh.
I know that I have been dreaming, because sometimes when I wake up, I'm very tired, like I haven't slept well, but I don't remember what I'm dreaming. But I can always tell when I know that I'm, something's going on while I'm asleep.
When's the last time you remember a dream?
It's been a little while. I haven't had one very vivid that I remember.
All right, try your best to remember anything from a dream.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember anything. Isn't that weird?
It's very strange.
That is unusual, because normally I have very vivid dreams that I remember.
Yeah, you haven't been dreaming. And, you haven't been remembering dreams for a very long time.
Wow. When did you notice this?
few months ago. Probably a couple of months ago is when I got that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got that you weren't remembering dreams.
That's very strange. I wonder why. I wonder what the purpose of that is.
It's probably some kind of warning or something. It's probably some kind of, maybe you're blocking something out that's in the dream. And maybe knowing you, it's telling you need to do something.
And I'm like, no, I'm too tired.
Your little defense mechanism of being too tired is like, nope, not going to do that.
That's really strange. That's really strange. I know for a while there, I wasn't sleeping well. So it didn't really dawn on me that I wasn't dreaming because I wasn't sleeping very well. So I guess I just never really noticed it. I mean, I feel like lately I've been sleeping well, but I haven't had any dreams.
I wrote it down so I could have a science experiment.
Oh, I see.
I thought I could bring it up here,
mm-hmm.
and then it would really hit you because we were doing the show.
Right.
And then possibly that could trigger an action where you dream as early as tonight.
Well, let's hope so. Update on the next show if I have a dream this week.
Yeah, I might be in for like a weird like tunnel clearing. I mean, she might be levitating and like I can just see it now. I've opened a can of worms, 3:00 in the morning. Her head looks over, eyes still closed. You wanted me to dream, eh? Ooh.
No, no. Let's not even visit the Exorcist thing again.
Well, how do you know I was thinking about the Exorcist?
Because you used the Exorcist voice.
Oh.
The voice you use when you're talking about,
Yes,
Reagan.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was okay. We've went in that territory already.
Yes, we aren't going to visit that again.
No, we are not. So let's talk about the world.
Okay.
The world sucks.
Topic over.
It's like, tell us about the weather. It's gonna rain.
It's cold.
Nah, I mean, the world sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I got it on good authority that somebody's going to call in, and they're real excited about calling in, but they called me beforehand this time and told me, hey, it was real hard coming up with positive things for 2021.
Oh.
I think they had to redo their list there. So.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
In fact, what the hell? He's not supposed to call in on that line. How does he even have that number? That's the personal.
I don't know.
That's your private one.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's got that specific ringtone. You hear it? Ring, ring. Ring, ring.
I go for the fancy rings.
Ring, ring.
Or are you going to answer it?
You mean I got to answer? Ring, ring.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll answer. Ring, ring. Hello. Ooh. Hello, John.
Oh, great, Antonio. Hi.
Oh, hello, pretty lady.
You weren't supposed to call on this number.
Oh, I see. I got it backwards. Sometimes, even though being a psychic and a medium from the great beyond, I have trouble because I write down numbers while I tell somebody, Philip, to write down the numbers. And when I tell them to write down the numbers, I say, put yes and put no. And then Philip doesn't put that. He puts little symbols. I say, what does that mean? He said, Prince used it. I don't know. Who listens to Prince? He's been dead for years. Oh, I didn't know. How long's Prince been at the house? Well, that explains all kinds of stuff in the shower. There's purple goo everywhere. The sky was all purple the other day. There was people running everywhere.
Very strange.
They tried to run from my destruction. I didn't even care. Sorry. It's a lyric.
So, great Antonio.
Yes, pretty lady.
Do you have some predictions for us this time?
I feel like sometimes you just want me for my psychic and mediumship.
Well, I think the key here is that I want you.
Oh,
right?
Pretty lady.
For your psychic mediumship.
Oh, hold on. It's getting a little hot in here. Oh, sometimes when I talk to you, I can't feel my face. Oh. Whew. Philip, draw a bath. Oh, it's very funny, Philip. Smart ass.
You draw a picture of a bath.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Okay, psychic and medium. I'll cut with the small talk. We'll talk about your beautiful hips later. All right, pretty lady. We're going to start off with you.
Oh, okay.
It's going to make it special for 20 and 21. That's right now.
That is right now.
We're at the first part of the year. I will let you know, though. I did the predictions for you about a month ago, and some came true already.
Oh, I see.
No one will ever know.
Okay.
I had to take them off because they weren't even fun. They just happened. And I literally, you could hear the paper rattle. Hold on a second. I have the paper right here.
Okay.
And there's things I had to, well, they didn't matter. All right. 2021. And being a psychic and a medium from powers of the great beyond, I, along with my guide, Philip, pretty lady in 2021, you will have the vacation that you love. A vacation that you love more than any vacation you've ever had before.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
Yes, it does. It does. Maybe you'll come see the Great Antonio.
Maybe.
Well, I'm off the island now.
Yes.
All kinds of legal troubles.
Yes.
There was a lot of good distractions, though. And speaking of distractions, 2021, pretty lady. Something you've given up on happens. Very exciting. I wrote very exciting. I wrote the 2 words.
Oh, okay.
And then I wrote fast. So something you've given up on happens very fast.
Wow, just sometime this year, huh?
Yes, something it does no good to try to remember it now.
No. Okay.
Something you've given up on happens really
I'll just be pleasantly surprised.
Yes, maybe you'll have dreams.
Maybe.
The next one, pretty lady, 2021. I've got happy relief. I don't control it. This is how it comes to Great Antonio. Mm-hmm. It's happy relief. That could be many things, pretty lady.
Happy relief for me?
Yes.
Oh.
Well,
okay.
It's got a question mark.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the relief is. It could be something that's been bothering you. It could be something financial. It could be something with one of your children's. It could be anything.
Okay. Well, it's good to know there's something positive coming on the horizon for myself.
It is. It is. And let's move on to the world.
Okay.
Pretty lady. World. 2021. There's something big coming from the ocean.
Oh.
I don't know what this could be, but I do have a couple of leads.
Okay.
Questioning the other side, Philip. It could be a major tsunami on the levels of like the one in Japan, which would be very, very horrible.
That would be horrible.
Be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Or Leviathan.
Oh.
So I'm going to go with tsunami.
It could be a big tidal wave or a humongous sea creature.
Well, yeah, it's a book of Revelation, you know.
Honestly, I'm 50-50. It could be either.
It wouldn't surprise me a bit.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Not a bit. So, Elon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Elon. You two love Elon.
Yes.
Elon has a big tie to a project. And that is not surprising at all.
No, not.
But it's this spring. It's something you'll know. You'll be like, oh, that is big.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Musk. This one you'll love this.
Okay.
I thought I wrote pig attention. I did not write pig attention. Thank God. I wrote pay attention. When Great Antonio is reaching to the other side, he just writes. He doesn't read. It could have been pig attention, which would be a whole new thing. Now watch this happen. Great Antonio returns in April, right after the big pig epidemic, where they decided they want attention.
Yes, they've become smart.
They've become needy. This pandemic made everybody.
We all thought it was going to be Planet of the Apes, and instead it's going to be Planet of the Pigs.
Everybody started eating bacon. And
Oh, God.
All right.
Anyway,
2021, there will be a rash of crop circles.
Oh.
And you need to pay attention. It's been a while since we've had a crop circle.
They seem to have slowed down.
They're not going to slow down. 2021. A big rash of crop circles.
And we need to pay attention.
You need to pay attention to the geometry inside.
Oh, okay. So I'll start logging all of those.
2021. This one's strange.
Okay. Stranger than pig attention.
Discovering a structure on a moon. I wrote the A very big.
Oh, so not necessarily our moon.
Not saying it is, not saying it isn't.
But just a moon.
A moon, yes.
Oh, very interesting.
Yes, discovering a structure. Structure on a moon is huge.
Yes, yes, it is.
It's very big.
Yes.
That's like the biggest year ever.
Yes. I mean, there would be no denying that there was or is life.
Oh no, I
universe.
put a star there, so I don't know if that means that they tell us or they don't tell us. But listen, Mr. NASA, I listen to the show. I know who you are, Johnson. Johnson, if you're listening, don't worry about that promotion you were supposed to get. It's okay. It will all work out. The great Antonio sees this. I see these things, Johnson. You got to do the right thing and tell the people about the structure on the moon. All right. On a moon. 2021. A polite. Oh, that doesn't say polite. Very, very scratchy writing when you're talking to the other side. A political bombshell. A lot better than a polite bombshell.
Yes.
Not
I don't
many,
think bombshells
not
can
many of those.
be
No,
polite.
No. So this happens in an M month. I'm so sorry. I couldn't tell. March or May.
I gotcha.
Or between March and May. Let's just say from March 1st to May not 1st. I couldn't remember how many days. 31.
31.
Right? Okay. It's just March 1st to May not 1st. Yeah, the political bombshell. And when Antonio says bombshell, I mean bombshell. I mean rock your world bombshell.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. 2021. New social media.
Ooh.
Now I have on here news and something that's not currently here. It's going to take over with a storm. And I could see that. It's very ripe for that anyway.
It is. Somebody that's good with tech really needs to jump in on that.
This one's going to be somewhat surprising. I can feel that too. It's somewhat of a surprise, but not a surprise at the same time. Just surprising how quickly it takes action, and it happens, pretty lady. 2021. Shut up, Philip. What? No, I don't have anything about Elton John. Elton John's still alive, Philip. Well, that's not Elton John. George Michael. I told you he was coming back. George Michael always comes dressed up as someone else. Philip falls for it every time. At least Philip says he falls for it.
I see.
You know it's George Michael, don't you? I found his Wham vinyls at his old house. All right. 2021. Less woke. The world, that is.
Oh, okay.
Less woke.
I wasn't sure where that was going.
On the heels, I have more information on it. On the heels of TV shows like Cobra Kai and The Mandalorian, the world is going to notice things and notice what people like and what they don't like. And they're going to create a crop of less woke shows.
Oh.
Yes. And
that'll be nice.
Entertainment is suffering greatly, money-wise.
Yes, I would say so.
People are tired of, feelings. So I think we're going to get less and less of the feelings.
Gotcha.
Or the care of your feelings.
Right.
2021. Don't look for normal. Normal is maybe 2022.
Okay.
But also, for those saying that normal never returns, those people are liars. Normal's coming back.
Good.
2021. Look for the May 20s.
Okay.
The month of May in the 20s.
Okay.
This is very important. Great Antonio doesn't even have what this is. It's just that it's
something very important.
It's life-changing.
In May for everybody?
I think it's the world.
Okay. That'll be interesting. So May in the 20s, the whole 10-day period, we will pig attention.
Very much pig attention. That's going to come back to bite us.
Yes, I think so.
Nobody wants a pig biting you.
They will too.
No,
the hogs will.
Absolutely, especially when you turn to shit. 2021. Major 9/11 level event.
Ooh, okay.
Like a major, September 11th level event. I don't even like to say this, but I'm not saying people die. What I mean by that is you remember where you were.
Right, something major.
Yes, I believe in modern times, Padilla. We've only had the Kennedy assassination and probably September 11th, where everybody knew where they were.
Right.
That's that kind of thing. When you know what? No, Challenger explosion.
Yes. Yes. You know where you were when you found out.
I would say that those three things I would say would be the maybe John Lennon, possibly. I don't know. Not as many.
Just depends. It depends on your age.
If you didn't like Pinko Commies, you would probably you probably would remember it for a different reason. All right. 2021. This is a good one.
Oh, good. Okay.
I mixed the list up from the original list. Scientific breakthrough.
Ooh.
Huge. No, pretty lady, do not laugh at the great Antonio with his powers from the beyond in the mediumship.
I'm not laughing at you, great Antonio. I would never do that.
Scientific breakthrough. It's big.
Oh, good.
Summer.
In the summer.
Yes.
Big, huge scientific breakthrough.
You won't have to ask.
Okay.
Any of great Antonio predict. You don't have to ask.
No, we'll know.
You'll know. This one not so good.
Oh no.
This is the worst one, actually.
Oh no.
This is one that great Antonio wrote down in the first week of December, and it's never went away. It's still hitting him hard.
Mm-hmm.
A supposed food shortage.
Oh.
And
I noticed you said supposed.
He did say supposed. That's because great Antonio has problem believing anybody.
I see.
It's hard for great Antonio to believe how you can be short gas in the 70s and then find it miraculously.
Right.
But just saying, it was always there. It was just the people that didn't let you have it. And,
right.
Food shortage, nonetheless, is bad.
It is bad.
So worldwide food shortage, worldwide famine. It's not good.
Mm.
It also scared great Antonio when he seen the Nostradamus predictions. That was on there too.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Great Antonio doesn't trust those very much. But he did have this one.
Yes.
All right. In Hollywood.
Okay.
An awesome year for music.
Oh, cool.
2021. Music from the same old farts, but it will be awesome. Wonderful. Actually, some old favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna have some really good music. You're gonna love some of your 2021 music.
Oh, good.
Everybody loves music.
Mm-hmm.
2021, there will be a Hollywood celebrity that has A-list celebrity who has a fall from grace.
Uh-oh.
Yes, a very, very fall hard from grace. And I don't know why. I'm just telling you. It's not like they're eating people like Mr. Armie Hammer.
We don't even need to go into that story. Oh.
Yeah, it's very nasty. Very nasty. That's it. I think there are some other ones that are going to be said, but not from me. Okay. I've got to go deal with George Michael and Philip.
Oh, okay.
But I'll deal with you later.
Oh, okay.
And I definitely won't call this number. Just don't be near it at 2 a.m.
Okay, I will probably be sleeping and not dreaming.
Oh, you won't be dreaming. All right, pretty lady.
Oh, thank you, Great Antonio, for giving us some predictions.
You are most welcome. Great Antonio out. All right. I didn't even leave the room that time. So it's a little bit more awkward than normal.
Right.
But I kind of don't care at this point. All right, so I've got some more predictions.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yes, I thought since Great Antonio would do it that, that
you would take a stab at it too.
I will stab it as much as you want. Let's see here. Beautiful woman. All right. So, just having some fun here. Can I put for entertainment purposes only? How about that?
There you are.
So, these are your actual John predictions, and I was going to give them to you guys because I've never done it as actual John.
You have not.
Actual John's another character, all right? Mm-hmm. It's AJ. So, being that this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and I'm not going to sing the song, the special alignments, they matter, right? And I can make sure alignments matter. Manifestation, it's going to be your key for 2021. And all of you really need to, basically, I want to use the old Rocky Horror, dream it, be it. Basically, it's what we're looking at. Manifestation, again, I can't say the word enough because that's the main thing I get. It's the time to go after your dreams. Anything you've been building up for, during the pandemic, being stuck inside, all this stuff that's been uncertain, and I'm sure that everybody's thought a little bit about your dreams. And sorry, Stacey, and thought a little bit about your figurative dreams,
right?
And what you can do to make those happen. So beware, though, because right now, if you manifest it, you will manifest it into being, and it will happen. Now, I believe in this principle anyway, as do many people. So I always try to see myself in that position or driving that car or, whatever it may be. You have to believe in yourself and believe that's going to happen, or it's probably not going to happen. So that's something we live by anyway. But I'm just saying that right now there's a little bit of mojo in the universe that is going to help that happen. So whatever you need, whatever you're wanting, manifest it. Like, see yourself with that. See yourself with that person. See yourself with that job. See yourself driving that car. Try not to be too greedy with the manifestation, but especially if it's something you're going after. You've got some kind of goal, personal goal in life. You're going to learn Spanish this year, then it'll happen. And it'll happen a lot easier than normal. So if we're going to release this show every week on the same day, then it's going to happen. So that's one of my main ones. There's also going to be some new industry this year, some new opportunities. Not traditional areas. That's what's really strange about what I'm getting on this. It's innovative stuff. And I see a lot of people making new money in this way. And I don't know if that might have something to do with people that have been working from home already, that have changed, to working from home, if there's innovations around that. I feel that it might be.
Right.
Something to do with some home businesses, something somebody's organized around that, possibly. Maybe one of the big employers that's out there anyway, or one of the bigger companies have figured out a way for for people to make money and actually be very productive from home because they found out that this is something that can happen. You got to think the less brick and mortar is out there is kind of what they're wanting for the future.
Right, a lot less overhead cost.
Absolutely, man. You cut down on that electric. So 2021 is going to be a year for traveling. And I know we've still got a lot of uncertainty, a lot of issues, a lot of possible, a lot of closures, maybe even more coming. We don't know, right? But I feel that a lot of people are really wanting to touch, feel, smell, really have some, instead of looking at these screensavers, really wanting to go to those places. Really wanting to see that castle, really wanting to go to that countryside, see the Grand Canyon, see Niagara Falls. And I think you need to. I think you absolutely need to do that. And of course, safely and when it's okay to do so. But I think there's going to be a lot of people doing this. I think we're going to see a lot more of the family trips and some of the old school summer type activities and less amusement park, right? Because nobody wants to be around, 10 million people that are all from different states. As much as amusement parks are great and fun, I have a feeling that we're looking more at national parks. Right,
like more outdoorsy nature type things where everybody can spread out.
So you can all be abducted.
Yeah. There you go. That's the plan. It's the master plan all along.
So here's a little bit of a more advice. This is just how it came to me, so I can't help it. Sorry, I apologize. I believe the universe is tired of lies. And I just feel like fessing up is what needs to happen. So just bite the bullet and tell your secret, so to speak. Okay? If you have something that you've been needing to say, you need to get it off. You want a free conscience. You want to go into 2021 with no BS. I think it's time to do that. I think it's time to just do it and feel good. And you'd be surprised what it does to your soul. I think right now is the time. I think it's truly the time. It's something I got, and it was one of the bigger ones I got. So out of all of them, I wrote that down. And it's also in a world theater as well. So come on, we know what politics is doing. I know we stay away from them on the show as much as possible, but we know what's been happening, right? And you have an argument on both sides of the ball. There's an argument for anybody. If they want to make it, they'll find it. But there's a lot of BS that goes into that. There's a lot of, misleading, false type things that come with that territory. And I really feel that the people and the whole consciousness of the planet is done. And they're over that. No matter how hard it is to take the truth at first, we want the truth. And, I don't know who needs to hear this, but hopefully they are hearing it. And if you're in a position where you can make that happen, we want to hear the truth. Now, this comes from everything from UFOs, we got a chance coming up. I'm sure Stacey will have it as one of her stories. I don't know that for a fact, but it's, hidden in our little stimulus package as far as coming clean. Now, they can BS around that, tap dance around it, or they can be like, you know what? The hell with it. Let's come clean. What do we have to lose? If you're in China and you actually didn't stop that research and there's a monkey sitting there playing cards with you right now, you
have a monkey butler.
I highly encourage you to get a hold of me and let me know. I have no ill will toward coming over and visiting and playing cards with the monkey. Man, that'd be cool. Playing cards with a Chinese talking monkey in that lab that I always talk about, because I know it's over there and I know you guys are listening. So the guys over in China that were responsible for an obscene amount of downloads, I love you guys. Thanks. I know you guys are all cool. Just to let everybody know, because I don't think we talked about it on this show. I know we didn't. On the release of our last show, the strangest thing happened. So we did talk about this. The reason I got confused, on Wes Forsyth's show, on the Scarefest show, we talked about it. We got, we looked at our downloads, which is not abnormal to see how your new episode's doing. And we got thousands of downloads from China, but not just like one province. We got them from everywhere, the entire country. And it was crazy because it wasn't just like one episode. It was multiple episodes, actually spanning the library. But still, yeah, like someone was picking and choosing. It wasn't just every episode either. So, I thought it was pretty interesting. So I figured I would say China a couple times. So
just in case.
It might like trigger some software. Because if that's what's happening, because, I have made a joke or two. Just a little itty bitty joke has possibly happened about the fact that, they might say that they're not actually working on those pig brains anymore. And they are.
Right.
But I would be too. So there you go. It's I would totally say, nope, not working on that talking monkey.
Nope, got rid of that.
And or actually something would answer the phone and go, that monkey, no talking. Because it has to talk like that.
Right.
It can't just come out speaking like Jeeves.
No, this is true.
Would you name him Jeeves?
Of course. You'd have to teach it some proper, etiquette and stuff.
Do you remember the was it Ask Jeeves, that web search? But it wasn't like a complete web search. Remember that?
No, I think you'd ask it questions and it would just give you
what
answers.
It wanted to.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't give you a list of 20 websites.
No. It would just try to answer your question.
I wonder if that's still a website.
I don't know. I hadn't thought about that in years.
I'm sure Google bought it. They had to.
Probably.
They buy. I think about making things sometimes just so it gets bought up. Like it's just something crappy too. Like my own Twitter, right? And just call it Quitter. And it's for people that are just, they're just done with life.
Right.
You imagine how popular that would be right now? I mean, my God, there's probably a whole market for that. And just like Quitter. Are you done with life? Are you done with people? Join Quitter. Because we are too. I mean, I'll probably get at least 1 million. And then I'll get a call.
For a little while, and then they'd all quit.
Yeah, I'll get a call. And as long as Jack's not off, he'll call me and be like, hi, I've been microdosing. And I seen your Quitter. And I was wanting to buy it from you. But anyway, speaking of China. All right, so let's continue on with these predictions.
Okay.
If you will. I always get the American Dream in there. All right, so this one's kind of odd. But I have to tell you guys, because I wanted to give you my most accurate predictions. The ones that were really just banging my head, right? And I've done this 3 times. All 3 times that I went in to write the predictions, this one hit. Not all of them hit every time. Okay, so I've got my little worksheets on these too. 2021 is the year of hashtags. Okay, any longtime listener of the show understands hashtagging. What hashtagging is, hashtag mommy daddy time, hashtag. This is the year for hashtag mommy daddy time. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but I think it's a good thing. So if you want to explore your hashtagging, I think this is the year to do that and to dive right in, if you will. Just dive right in. Yeah. So I'm not going to expand on that much, but I thought it was important that I told you because it came up all 3 times. So maybe, we're going to see something in
maybe there's going to be a baby boom kind of thing.
Well, yeah, that could be it. Maybe it's a big topic.
Could be.
Or maybe they start making really cool fantasy shows without those scenes, which would be fantastic. I'm sorry. Listen, I love Whoopi as much as the next person.
Right.
And I love the form of a female. Okay? I'm not afraid to say it. I never will be. I don't care what people think. All right? I think curvy women are beautiful. And I don't mind seeing it. But I do mind seeing it when I'm sitting there trying to watch Game of Thrones. And this wonderful show that could be just, I don't want it to be wholesome. I don't care if they ram swords through each other's stomach all day. It's just awkward. And there's a difference in a floppy boob running across the screen and just straight up, you remember like when Littlefinger had those girls in his.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a difference in that and some topless chick screaming and running out of a room, Right. Just a difference. I would like to have my fantasy shows, please, a little bit more tanned, a little bit more toned down. And you can leave that in because you laughed. It's
Those
fine.
girls were a little pale. Yeah, I understand that.
If you're gonna show it, for the love of God, get a tan on the girl. Don't know what's wrong.
As that show got more popular, they kind of whittled down this. It's almost like they just put all that gratuitous sex in there to get people to watch it.
Yeah, you think?
And then once people started watching it, it was a lot.
It also
less.
had something to do with reworked contracts.
Well, true.
Because once the mother of dragons showed her little pearls, she only did that like once, and Cersei had a body double. So I mean, it's once you start getting that money, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, did I say I would do that every season? Well, I lied. So I guess we can show these, and I quit. And you can get that other mother of dragons, or you're gonna take that out. Well, we'll take it out. That's what I thought you'd say.
Stepmother of dragons.
Yeah. So the stepmother of dragons. Oh, I would like it. All right. So weird taste I've got. So this last one could be good or bad. Okay. I really couldn't get a beat on it.
Okay.
And I really tried. But again, it was one of the trifecta hits. 2021, be very calculated, okay? Because impulsiveness is going to be rampant. And that is somewhat of a warning because of mob rules and because of people jumping really quickly on bandwagons and being too quick to judge a situation before you know all the details, or condemn somebody for something, or gang pile the person because they're not wearing a mask, kind of thing.
Right.
Before you know the details, maybe that person has some kind of emphysema or something. You know what I mean? It's just like, get your details, get your.
So in other words, don't just believe everything you hear right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, that's one side of this. The other side of this is just the fact that the impulsive behavior is pulling our countries and our world. It's controlling it right now. And it's got something to do with, forces of the universe, so to say. And it goes right along with the whole manifestation, right? I said beware on that, because you dream it, you probably be it. So a lot of good, not so much bad. I think that even though things might feel dark, things might feel cold, things might feel uncertain, things might feel just rotten, I think there's a lot of surprises. Okay, there's a whole lot of surprises, and surprises can be fun. So I think that for a lot of people that don't feel too hot, that you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I really believe this, and I don't think it's going to take very long for you to have something that you're happy about. So I would say if you feel crappy right now, give it a month and a half, and it's going to feel really good, and just take that as a win, and then you'll have another win shortly thereafter. Because I think that there's going to be something in May that's going to be like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense now. So I won't do these very much because I feel awkward when I do. So like I said, that was your for entertainment purposes only actual John readings. Little disclaimer on the end.
There you go.
For whoever went out there and finally had sex with their neighbor. It's like, I was listening to this, and I was just thinking about it, Marjorie, and, well, you're home, I'm home, we're both, home. Why not just... Oh, shut up, you big lug, and get in here. But do people still say big lug?
I don't know. Maybe.
I bet Johnson says
should bring it back.
Oh,
big lug.
Big lug?
Yeah, I'm going to call you a big lug.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I probably won't.
I'm not as big of a lug as I was.
No, you're not.
So I'm getting there, folks. I'll be under 200 soon. So, that pounds, that is. And I was up in the 300 range before. So, I mean, I was like a couple of buffets and a day of not walking away from 300 several times. Mm-hmm. And but I would normally hover in the 280s, but that was still like controlling my weight. Mm-hmm. And I could go on a diet for a couple of weeks, and I would get to 265. And I was so excited about getting to 265. I remember those days because they were a couple of months ago. And it went on for years, like where I was so excited because I could make the heavyweight limit in UFC. And it's so weird right now being, below 210 because I've maintained for about a month, in that 220 range and below, just because I do like food. So I'll go a couple days and I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to eat some chicken wings. So... I'm there. I'm going to go to 185, but I'm working out now. So it's going to come back weight-wise, but that's because of the muscles.
Right,
and
right.
That's okay, though. It's more about feeling good.
Yes, and the overall picture.
Yes.
That you like the overall picture.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But I tell you, doing these crunches every day, I'm on my 5th day today, and it's a cool kind of pain that I'm feeling.
Right.
Because I can actually feel like every muscle in my stomach. Like it's weird because I can feel my stomach.
Right.
And it's actually my stomach muscles that I feel. I've been doing like 50 crunches, hardcore crunches, like not half butt. I actually do the deal where you come up halfway and you twist, and then I go back down. So it sounds like I'm dying. Like if you ever come in here and you hear like this weird, it hurts, but I like it. So I got some exercises I'm doing like that, and I'm killing myself. And I actually let me tell you, there's one side effect to losing a lot of weight quickly. And I discovered that when I got in the shower a couple weeks ago. So I bought a Thigh Master. And, just for tightening up, a little squat, little Thigh Master stuff. Because I was getting in the shower and I thought somebody like hit my butt with like some kind of palsy thing. I thought I had butt palsy. Because it was just like, boom. I looked like what's those droopy faced dogs?
Basset hounds.
Yeah, it looked like there was a basset hound in my butt. It was just like, it was scary. I was like, oh my God.
Well, the Thigh Master's good because you can use it at your desk.
Yes. Oh, I've used the crap out of it. So we'll see how it looks here in a week or so.
Okay.
I'm going to make you look at it and tell me the, results.
Okay.
All right, guys. One more time before we get to the grooviness of the news. Sincerely, if you love the show, please spread the show. Just get it out there. Spread it like a virus. Maybe not the best words for right now, but get it out there. Do the likes. Get engaged. Tell a friend. You know how it goes. If you don't like it, tell an enemy. So, with that said, it's now time for my lovely wife and some paranormal news.
Coming to you direct from the Sideshow Intercontinental Center for Strange Events and Odd Irregularities, she's more stealthy than a Cold War era spy. If it's from beyond the grave or above the sky, there's only one girl who looks under every rock to see. She's got your mysterious goodies and spells Stacey with an E. It's now time for Stacey Edwards and Paranormal News.
Let's get to the news.
Let's.
All right, so let's start by talking about this story that we did preview a little bit on Wes's show, Scarefest TV, and we talked about it a little bit there. It's the COVID bill that they passed recently that included, and this wasn't really reported on that much, it sort of just came out afterwards, it included a 180-day countdown for the Pentagon to do the UAP disclosures of what they found with their new task force.
Right.
Now, we did know that that was part of the deal when they made this task force, that they would eventually have to, tell people what they were, looking at and researching on and what they found. And this bill specifically said, now the bill was 5,593 pages. They passed it very quickly. So surely not a lot of people got to read every single line.
Right. Well, first of all, don't call me Shirley, but I totally thought this was like one of the cooler things that that you'll see, and it didn't take long for people to find it, because it was such a long bill. They were just like, they knew something was hidden in there, and of course, this might be hidden in there to like throw off the, $50,000 toilet seats that are a few pages over. I don't know,
right.
I'm sure there's some dark budget stuff in there.
Something to distract you from something else.
Yeah.
But it does say that the briefing will cover, quote, observed airborne objects that have not been identified, and also feature detailed analysis of unidentified phenomena data collected by any of the means that they use, any of the geospatial intelligence, signal intelligence, human intelligence, any kind of measurements they take. And while this is not specifically a law, it is a very high watermark request. Like, they really expect them to do this, and I know that there are a lot of members of Congress that are very interested in what they're looking at and what they're going to find. So I guess in 6 months or so, we'll see what kind of information they come out with, what sort of things they say they've been seeing.
So what's the over-under? I mean, what's the chance that we actually get them to come out? We were talking about it in predictions, right?
Right.
You got a choice. You can do either lies and say, well, we've got a bunch of redacted redacts because we were redacting when we redacted, and we were going to tell you guys everything, but actually, well, Johnson's grandfather did work in the department, and he's redacted in life now, so
right.
Does that mean he's dead? It does. It's a little inside joke for us here in the CIA.
It's a nicer way to say it, right?
We have little jokes like that, and that's one of our jokes. Not very funny. Shut up, Johnson!
So I suppose we'll see in 6 months or so.
Yeah.
If they actually tell us that they found anything, or if they just make up a bunch of... This is a good opportunity for them, I think. Yes, I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to change their ways and just be like, yes, this is what we saw. We don't know what this is. Look what this is doing. We can't do that. Just be honest about it. Tell us what they saw.
That's still not being honest. Being honest would be like, we entered a pact with them in 1947.
Be honest about what they've seen in the last 6 months or whatever time frame it was they've been.
Entire Galactic Federation.
Whatever time frame they've been studying this.
And there'll be some poor guy from Israel go, I told you all!
You thought I was crazy.
Everybody made fun of him. I didn't think you were crazy, sir.
No, me neither. I thought he was very brave.
It came from too many people.
All right, well, let's move on to this next story. And this is an amazing story about how you can now easily download all CIA UFO documents to date.
Oh, wow.
Now,
I mean, what kind of date do you go on with CIA documents?
Well, this is from the Black Vault.
Oh.
And they have released hundreds of public PDFs containing CIA information on UFOs. And these go back, it's like 2,780 pages. I believe it goes back into the 80s. I'm not sure if it goes back any further than that. It's something that has just come out recently. They've released a downloadable document archive, and it's just filled with all kinds of PDFs on the unidentified aerial phenomena. That's the term now.
Right.
And all it says in this particular article is that some of the reports date back to the 80s. It doesn't give a specific date, but the guy that runs the Black Vault, John Greenwald Jr., he's years and years he's been filing Freedom of Information Acts, trying to get reports, trying to get the information. They make it extremely difficult to be able to get the records in a timely manner or a reasonable manner.
Right.
And once he got them, I believe he digitized them himself and made them on the Black Vault to be downloadable. So according to him, there have been thousands of downloads within just the first 24 hours of the release.
Oh, sure.
And I haven't seen a lot of reports about what's in. I mean, that's a lot of pages, so people are still, I'm sure, rifling through all of that. And I'm sure there'll be more stories coming out of what people are finding in these documents.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I've seen some of it, and there was a lot of redacto, and
there was. But the fact that they got, after this really long process, he's been doing this for years and years. It's amazing that he finally feels like he got everything that's current.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Black Vault's a great site. If you've never been there, definitely go and see what he's been doing. It's his life's work, I would say.
I feel like every few years we have a big dump of documents that are released from somewhere. Last time it was from England, and we had to listen to Nick Pope for a couple of years explain it over and over without really telling us anything. And that I don't get too excited over it because I know who's releasing it. So I hope there is something in there. I mean, it's all those pages, and you would like to think there's some stuff in there that we can use, and we can add little pieces of it to stories we know already, match it up. That's going to be really the extent of it. But I don't know if the secrets they're hiding for national security, I just don't see national security really being an issue if it's like 1980.
Right.
And they're blacking out certain parts of it. Like, we don't care that Agent McCroskey, was in a cornfield in 1983.
Right.
We don't give a damn. We don't give a damn if he's living, in Florida now, drinking with some former Cuban crime boss. I mean, it don't matter. Nobody would get mad. And so I don't believe that that's all like undercover people or whatever, when they blacked it out, which is normally what they'll say for national security or whatever. That is not good enough for me anymore. I mean, we know what they are. We know all that stuff. I just think we can handle it.
Right.
What I'm trying to say. We can handle it. If you've got a little crystal cube you can look through and see Jesus being crucified or whatever, I think we can handle whatever it is. At this point in time, reality has bent so out of shape that a freaking kangaroo could knock on my door tonight, and I could go down there, and the kangaroo could punch me in the face and then give me a pizza, get out and hop on a motorcycle and take off, and I wouldn't think anything about anything except for getting punched. So whenever I called Papa John's, I'd be like, hey, that damned old kangaroo came back again, and that son of a bitch punched me again.
Well, sir, it's in his nature, really. I mean, they're inclined to punch, and you should just box around with him. He enjoys it.
That's not the point. The point is, I just want to eat my pizza. I don't think I would even question it that much. I mean, we see crazy shit every day, right?
We do.
We see like legit videos with birds that are not flying. Their little wings aren't even moving.
Right.
And they're just there stationary in the sky. Just stationary. Wind's not blowing on them. There's a flag near. I mean, you know the video I'm talking about.
Yes, where it's just sort of everybody's looking at it.
So it's not the only one I've seen like that, and I've seen them on legit things. I'm just saying that should have screwed us up so bad that we sucked our thumbs and sit in the corner for 4 hours. It didn't, because we went past the point of them conditioning us for weird to us being locked in a room together for months and months and months, so we didn't fall down dead like the people in China. You remember that? When the disease must have really got curtailed before it got here.
Yeah, because people were just falling over in the streets.
You can't say the name of it without getting flagged.
Right.
So I'm just saying the disease.
Right.
But when the disease first hit, and I'm not saying anybody was, making something bigger than what it was or whatever, but man, do you remember, there was always this perfectly dressed businessman laying in different areas of death.
Right.
And it was like they were just like walking down the street on their BlackBerry because it's China. And I mean, that is a compliment, China. And all of a sudden it was just like, uh-oh, you know, and they just fall. I mean, it looked like they fell right where they were at. And didn't even wrinkle their suits. And,
that's amazing.
And then the guys in the ET abduction suits just happened to be
over there around the corner.
It was like, oh, boys, assemble, you know. And they come over, they put the plastic tube up and walk to it, pick it up, take them somewhere. I'd like to talk to one of the guys that, you know, maybe survived. You think those guys maybe survived? No,
No, I think they were dead.
They're graveyard dead, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I don't know. Weird stuff happens, Stacey.
It does. It does. I will point out that it does say in this article that it's the CIA that claims that is all of the documents that it has. There's no way to actually verify that.
Well, good Lord, they got to be telling the truth. I mean, it's the CIA. It's not an organization, you know, international organization based on their ability to lie.
No, of course not. So I'm sure that is everything.
Yeah, I totally believe them. I trust you, CIA.
Well, while we're talking about UFOs, I did see an article, just a fun little nugget about 2020, that the state that ranked number 1 in UFO sightings per capita was Idaho.
You know, that is a little bit stiff, baby. I know you've been promiscuous before, and a bit cocky, you know.
What are you talking about?
I don't think you're a hoe, but if you are a hoe, you don't have to just declare it like that. Jeez.
That isn't me. That's somebody else that's pretending to be me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the state of Idaho, I believe in 2020, they only had about 164 sightings, but per capita, that was the most out of any other state.
No, so it's the pound for pound champion.
Yes. Because
that means it's actually a cruiserweight, because I think we had that many in like Miami-Dade County.
Right. So
yeah.
But less people to see the UFOs. So
more spread out.
Exactly. The funny thing is they didn't give you any other, like they didn't make a list of this, you know, the sightings per capita. I was hoping they would give like a top 10 list or something, but no, it's just an article about how Idaho was number 1.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe they just wanted to be number 1 in something.
Oh, wow. I'd like to go ahead and talk to all the Idahoians.
Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Idahoians?
Okay. No, it is.
Doesn't roll off the tongue very well, does it?
Well, I don't guess you're going to have to worry about it. Being that it's a close-knit little Christian nuclear family community.
Right.
You probably just went up on the billboard there, honey.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I've always wanted to be on a billboard.
Yeah, well, you reached your goal. I told you, manifest. So, yeah, I mean, they take that serious. Does Idaho have like a sports team?
I don't think so. They grow potatoes. Really good potatoes.
Yeah, I know they grow potatoes.
That's about all I know.
Do you know their state like slogan? We grow potatoes?
No. We are woefully ignorant on the state of Idaho.
Man, I thought you were talking about them again.
No, I said we.
Yeah, I know. We were coming up with their slogan. I thought you were going to be like Idaho. Well, we are willfully ignorant. Woefully. You said woefully. Not willfully. That'd be Kentucky.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sorry, Kentucky.
I'm not.
All right. So shall we move on to a very strange discovery from space?
Oh, we can talk about space. Nobody lives in space. Well,
that we know of. So this is a strange signal that was discovered coming from one of Jupiter's moons. Yeah. And not one that you would think. This one is Ganymede. And it's not one that we
stupid name.
It's not one that we talk about.
I'd like to find a scientist that named that one and just slap the shit out of them.
So Ganymede is Jupiter's largest moon.
Do you think the other moons like go Ganymede?
You know they do, because it's the largest moon, so you know they're making fun of it all the time.
Ganymede. Shut up, you guys. I can't hear what my name is.
So, sorry. NASA recently extended the life of 2 of its planetary discovery missions, including the Juno mission to Jupiter, because Juno has discovered an FM signal emanating from the moon Ganymede.
An FM signal?
An FM signal.
Like 96K rock?
I guess. Well, it's funny because this article goes to great lengths to explain how this is not an indication of extraterrestrial life, that it's not ET, that it's just a natural function of the moon, yet they've never detected this before. You know, this is the first time that they've found this. So, as a spacecraft, what happened to be traveling across Jupiter's polar region, it crossed the radio source and it only saw the radio emission for about 5 seconds, but that was long enough to confirm the source. And I did read in one article that this particular source of radio wave is called a decametric radio emission, and they likened it.
Decametric sounds fun.
They likened it to like our Wi-Fi that we use on Earth, which I thought was interesting. Like it's sort of the same kind of concept, but they claim that this is, you know, a natural process that happens, and
natural
it just sort
FM
of
signal. Eh?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Recording. So.
You know,
and it's caused by electrons. That's what's doing it.
Wait a second. I'm getting a call.
Mm-hmm.
Ring, ring. Ring, ring. Yes, you're on the air with the Sideshow. What can I do for you? Oh, yeah, this is Johnson. Hey, Johnson, you're quite the celebrity. So, what do you got for me, bud? Well, I was just listening to the live feed. Well, we're not live, pal. Well, you are for me. You work for the CIA. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So give it to me, buddy. You got a leak for me? Well, I do actually. You talking about Ganymede? Yes, we're talking about Ganymede. Well, I've got the signal here, and you gotta excuse me. It takes a minute for it to get back to Earth and to our satellites, and then it mirrors from Kentucky straight to here. Why does it mirror from Kentucky? Well, because they don't question why there's a mirror on the side of the road. Oh, okay. All right. So I didn't know mirrored means actual mirrors. But, all right. So you got the signal. What is it, just a bunch of like dots, dashes, you know, slight like static or anything cool like that? Well, not exactly. I can play it for you. Yeah, we're all ears. So let's hear the FM signal coming from Ganymede. Hey guys, listen, this is a Sideshow exclusive, okay? You guys got to get your friends and you gonna let me play it? Jesus. All right, Johnson. Waiting. Having a little trouble. Okay, I think I got it. Ready? 3, 2. Oh, Johnson.
That wasn't funny.
Not you. I can't believe you rickrolled this. Johnson. Here. Got you. Oh, wow. Yeah, no. I can't believe we got rickrolled. I apologize deeply for that, folks.
Yeah. That's what we get for answering Johnson's phone call.
Yeah, Johnson's going to lose his... He called in on the Antonio line, weirdly enough.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah, I thought so, too. I mean, that's really weird.
Gotta change that ring.
You said you had to sleep on the couch last night, right? But you had the machinery down there. Did that not bother you? Did anybody call in or?
No.
Okay. All right. Anyway, continue on.
Anyway, so this FM signal that they found, even though they're claiming that it's natural, it's done by electrons, they know what it is, it has caused them to extend the life of their missions now, which I thought was a little interesting because it was scheduled to stop functioning. The Juno mission is scheduled to stop functioning this year, like in July.
This year?
This year, yes. But now it's going to continue until 2025.
You know, wouldn't it be strange? Mm-hmm. Because there's some weird stuff that happens. Like Voyager 1 will die. Mm-hmm. You know, they'll be like, folks, it's dead. They'll have a funeral and everything. And then like 8 months later, it's back.
Yeah,
you know?
It just powered itself back up.
Or you know, like the Martian, you know, rover, like cleaning itself off.
Right.
All this stuff. They're like, it's a wind event. And
didn't they lose one once?
Yeah.
And then it just reappeared.
Yeah,
we looked there like a million times. There it is.
Oil change and all this stuff. Wouldn't it be weird if when it left our fabric of reality, our planet, and got into deep space, if they became sentient beings?
Possibly.
And
we don't know what happens.
And we're God to them, to the satellites that we've created, we've sent throughout the universe. So they know there's God and angels somewhere, but they don't. They're not really sure where the voices come from. They just know, they feel like they've got these little things they need to do,
right?
And they kind of do it naturally.
They feel compelled.
They find a place and they film it and everything, and they get what feels like instructions inside their hearts. They don't actually hear anyone, much, but every now and then, and they really want life, and they're like, my God, I just found this cool signal here on this planet, and if only I could live longer. And poof,
they can live longer.
5 years extra. I didn't know they could extend life like that. I mean, I know that they can shut off some things, and that's how they've got some of the probes and things to last longer, is they'll shut down this or shut down that. There's one of them, and I can't remember which one. It's so dead that it's got like one little poof that they put out every now and then to have it.
Right. I think now they just fly them into planets and stuff, don't
they?
Right,
they do that a lot. Yeah, because that's going to start interplanetary war. I can't wait till we get to a planet that's like where they're in like their Stone Age. And we get there, and all it is these really crappy satellites we've built in the past, like where they've got stone monuments up, and you know what I'm saying?
Because we crashed them all into their planets.
Or they found like the wrecker with the naked humans on it, and they've drawn that exact thing over everything. I would mistreat the Prime Directive. Like, yes. I have to admit, I've always wanted to do space travel, and I would go right now if they called me right this second. They're like, look, there's a good chance you're not going to ever come back. Okay. And I've thought this out, because when they send you on those missions, there's zero chance you're going to come back.
Right.
But they always put their if, because I guess things could happen, like, interplanetary. Like they could come up with like the ray or something to.
Right. You never know.
To charge you here and there, like Star Trek, which they've talked about doing. And I think they've done it with particles, actually.
I think so.
Beam them up, But I would actually go. I would go. I mean, in a heartbeat. And funny enough, the real book for Planet of the Apes, which blew me away, is fantastic. And the astrology, the math, the science in the real book for Planet of the Apes is so dead on correct.
Wow.
And even with its age, the way they do it, the way they're traveling, all this stuff, and they have this mission to go to this planet. I mean, it's a lot different than the movie, right?
Right.
But that's one of the deals. Like, they're going to this planet, and they're gonna be stuck there, and it's like the one that was Earth-like, and they knew they could get there, and this stuff, and they finally get there, and of course, the rub is. It is Earth, Anyway, they're like, "Wow, this looks just like Earth."
Isn't that weird?
It's so bizarre, so bizarre. But I believe that if I showed up at a planet and there was like screwable life forms,
right?
And I mean, to be screwable just means you have to have a hole, and
it's a lot of information in that sense. Okay. Continue.
I didn't mean that bad.
right. Just roll with it.
I'm just saying, I meant I wouldn't make a hole or anything. Like,
no, I got you.
Okay. So if we got there, and I should have said sentient.
But you didn't.
So you get there and there's sentient beings. Okay.
Right.
And they're, looking at me like I'm a god. I personally would have a hard time not being a god.
Right.
Even if it was for 20 years and then I died and they figure out, well, he wasn't a god. I would have a hard time, wouldn't you?
I have never put that much thought into it.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never thought about landing on a planet and having them all like drop to their knees?
No. I mean, going to space was never something I ever thought about doing, so.
Oh, man. Really?
Yeah.
You never had a desire to fly into space? Like deep space?
No.
I don't want to orbit the Earth.
I worry about stuff too much. I couldn't do it.
I don't want to orbit the Earth because that's nerdy. Like, I just don't
You're like, I've seen this planet.
Well, I mean, I've seen it done. You know, that's what makes me mad about it, is I don't care. Like, I know the Earth's not flat. It bothers me. Like, I think we should be way further than we are. And I also think that has something to do with, I think we are further than we are. I think there's absolutely secret space programs. And, you know, we were watching a really great documentary. And you fell asleep toward the end, but you made it through a lot of it.
I did.
And this documentary was on Amazon, and it was about Phil Schneider. And Phil Schneider, for those of you who don't know, was the whistleblower, very brave whistleblower in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. He really started making the rounds after all this had happened. And I mean, he's got an insane story. Because he didn't remember a whole lot of stuff. His dad was part of like the Philadelphia experiment with pictures and everything. And it even goes into like the aliens that are working with the government with pictures and all this good stuff. And the thing was in Dulce, I call it Dulce, you can call it Dulce, whatever, tomato. But in Dulce, they have these deep underground military bases, or DUMBs, as they call them, and he was talking about how they were going down and they were building it and digging down very deep, and they went so far down, and they had like U.S. Delta Forces, Green Berets, and there was these grays. I mean, traditional grays down there in the tunnel when they got down there, and they had plasma guns or whatever, and they shot, and there was a firefight, and some of them were killed, and like some of the Green Berets were killed, and Schneider himself got blasted right in the gut and had the wounds. I mean, he was messed up. You know, I don't think anybody's ever disproved this. I mean, his history is there. What he did is there. You know, you can find it or whatever. And I don't know. It's a hell of a story, and it's very interesting. You can find it all over YouTube. The original like clips of him talking at these things, but it even goes to his death. His death was very, very mysterious, and you know, he felt like it was coming, and it was because of certain things. Of course, you can't go around whistleblowing like that, but just nuts, man. But if you get a chance, you should really go and look for that. What was the name of that documentary?
It's called The Underground, and it'll say it's the director's cut is the one we watched, and it'll say the true story of Phil Schneider, and it's only about an hour long, but it's very well done. Yeah, and super interesting.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But there you go. There's your little. You need to watch this on this guy.
Well, according to this article that we were talking about the FM signal coming from Ganymede, it does say that they've known about radio waves on Jupiter since around the 50s, but this is the first time that it's ever been seen emanating from Ganymede. And recently, like in 2018, they observed extraordinary, what they call, quote, extraordinary electromagnetic waves, also known as chorus waves, also coming from Ganymede. So it's not the first time that they've noticed something strange about this moon. And they also claim that it's home to an ocean that, quote, could be habitable.
Wow.
So definitely one of the more interesting moons that you don't hear about that much, but possibly we'll be hearing more from it. And I thought the signal thing was very strange, and how hard they were, you know, trying to say, look, this is an ET, so don't even say that. So
yeah, I mean, especially when they say it like that, right?
When they feel the need to point it out several times.
And what's really weird to me is the fact that they tell us that at all.
Right.
Like the fact they tell us about any part of the discovery. And it goes back to a lot of the Illuminati stuff. Apparently with the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, Bilderberg, the government, you know, church, whatever, they tell you. Like, that's the thing about it. Like, they'll come out and tell you what they're going to do. And then they do it. And of course, a lot of times when they tell you what they're going to do, like for instance, the vaccine that's coming out to cure the disease. There was a guy that was working on, I think somebody from Pfizer or something, back in December, was like, yeah, we're going to have everybody sterile, you know, and it was like he misspoke.
Right.
Saying the word sterile, you know, but if you were in that position and that job representing that product,
Right.
would sterile be in your vocabulary? You know what I mean? Like, especially with some of the stuff that's happened. Like, think about like the Native Americans.
That's that important.
Yeah.
I mean, would you really not be extra careful?
With population control, and Bill Gates, who has said that we need population control, has come out and said it, that we need to depopulate. I mean.
And the fact that every time you see someone supposedly getting their shot on TV, so one of the major players, one of the bigger people, they're not really getting it. Like, there's been evidence that it looks like the needle's not uncovered, or they're not actually pushing the plunger, or something.
Really?
Something crazy. Have you not seen any of those videos?
No, not yet.
There was one where this doctor was supposedly getting it, and you could see the guy giving him the shot. The plunger was already pushed into the shot. He pulled it back and then pretended like he did it again. Like, it was so ridiculous.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I think there's a picture of the one. Now, I can't say this is a real picture, but like when Nancy Pelosi supposedly got it, the cover was still on the needle. So not so sure she actually got it. So I don't know.
You know, this is completely off the subject, but I got to tell you this. This is because it kind of has nothing to do with the subject, but it's kind of funny because of just planning and if you're going to fake something kind of thing.
Right.
So I'm not going to give the whole history of Memphis wrestling, but Memphis wrestling was the biggest, most watched wrestling in the entire world at one time. And their amount of TV sets, like their share, right? I don't think it beats like what happened in Japan. And there was a famous series of matches in Japanese wrestling where literally their share was like 95%. So out of every 100 televisions, 95 were tuned to this match. Okay.
Crazy.
It was so big. There's pictures you can still look up online in stores when they sold TVs and put them in the window.
Right.
Where there's thousands of people watching from there because not everybody had a television set.
Right.
And they would set up big screens in parks and tens of thousands of people. Like, that was the biggest thing. And the reason was these matches took place in the 50s. And that's when the Japanese wrestling really started over there. And this guy who they thought was Japanese, but he wasn't. That's a whole nother story. But he was their national hero. It was honestly them getting back at the United States. They don't term it as that, but but it was him against a American. And it was like 10 years after they got blown off the face of the world. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason, a lot of innocent people, died in that.
Right.
I mean, regardless. And so it had to feel kind of good because that's the only get back they've ever got. So anyway, fast forward from that amazing little story to Memphis wrestling. Memphis wrestling, all 60s, 70s. TV5 down there is the largest channel in Memphis. And every Saturday morning, they would have the TV5 wrestling, and it'd be live for 2 hours in the studio. And in Memphis only, it was live. And then they would bicycle it through the rest of their territory. But that Memphis wrestling, the ratings, there was nothing that came close at any time during the week.
Right.
Any time that came close to the ratings this got. And there was no other market anywhere that got the ratings. And I'm talking, man, virtually everybody in that city was watching it. Enough that in Mid-South Coliseum every week, they would sell out 10,000 people. Think about that. On a Monday night, every week, 8 to 10,000 people. Okay? For years and years and years and years. So I got curious, and I was doing a little studying because of the podcast we're doing now.
Right.
And I was going to do a history of Memphis wrestling.
Right.
Well, the only part I'm weak on is the end because I didn't really care. I was already wrestling myself. And Power Pro Wrestling is what it ended up being called. And I know that they even had a big angle like in 2000. And I wanted to go back and be like, well, why didn't that work? I know it led to their demise.
Right.
And it was a whole thing where there was another group. And that group was WWE developmental guys, and Jerry Lawler was part of it and everything. And he was coming back and invaded Channel 5, and so it was that same studio of the one I watched so much from the early 80s.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's cool. And Jerry Lawler comes out there, and So the next week they attack him. He's like, if you do that, I'm going to come back with a bunch of WWE wrestlers next week, and we're going to tear the door down. We're coming to beat you all up.
Right.
So they beat him up anyway. Well, then there's the next week, and they're like, oh, we hear there's a disturbance in the back. So let's get a camera back there, Jimmy, and it's got a camera going back there. And you got to think, this is broadcast live there.
Right.
So the camera gets back there, and there's this little old security man, okay? This little security man. First, you got the good guy wrestlers on this side of the door. Mm-hmm. The camera, you're looking down the hall, and you're looking out, and it's 11 a.m., and it's sunshine. And you see, like, all these wrestlers standing about 5 feet away from the door. Right. And this little old security guy with a little flashlight walks in, like no big deal. And he nods to the guys, and he walks on. And the live Dave Brown and the live announcers are kind of trying to put it over. They're like, well, there was obviously somebody that got in there, and we don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, it's like, go. And you've got the good guys go over and they're barring the door. And it's like, well, it looks like they're barring the door. Now, these guys have been standing on the other side of this door the entire time. Right. And then all of a sudden, it's like somebody told them action. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, making the sound just like that.
Their timing was off, wasn't it?
Trying to get in the door. Mm-hmm. And then they punch through the window or whatever. And I watched it like 5 times. I almost peed myself. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I guess that's it, probably. That's probably what did it. I mean,
most likely.
When you expose the business, you just might as well just go all the way out. I mean, the very fact that the announcers kept going to try to make it seem legitimate.
Normal.
Yeah. And the other funny part to it is when Lawler came out the week before, he was like, when we used to have the best ratings ever, it was because we had guys like me and Dundee and Dutch Mantel and the Fabulous Ones and all this stuff. And he's like, you're like, what, 5 foot tall, 150 pounds. And he's like calling them all out for how small they are. Right. And which is a no-no in wrestling, right? Right. Because I was told Ricky Morton from the Rock and Roll Express, I did some promos against him. We were going to have a series of matches against the Rock and Roll Express, and I was calling him a fossil and a dinosaur and all this stuff, and they dug him up in gray on a dig and all this stuff, and the 1986 called, they wanted their haircut back and all these things, right? The wrestler was going to be based on his life, but they needed a feel-good story. So I did all these things like that, and he got me in the back, and he's like, you smoke a cigarette. It's always my Ricky Morton thing, but he's like, right. So let me ask you this. I'm old. I'm a dinosaur. And I'm like, well, I was just working. No, I got you. So I'm old. I'm a dinosaur. So let me ask you this, kid. What happens when that dinosaur whoops your ass? What does that make you? I was like, oh, I never thought of that. Yeah. And so I'm thinking that when I'm sitting here watching this. So when those guys show up the next week, they literally are twice these guys' sizes. Every one of those WWE trainees are like 6'5", muscular, good looking, tanned, Zubaz on and freaking, fanny packs. I mean, they look like wrestlers. Right. That comes with the wrestling gear.
It's standard.
It is standard.
Standard issue.
And the other guys look like your normal stupid backyard or 150 pound. It was really like, I was like, okay, well, that was true. Yeah. Nobody's going to believe this. And then they actually beat them all up for real and left them all laying. Wow. And I was like, okay, why would you, So anyway, I get it. That's funny. And I just don't understand why people don't take a little bit more care. If you're going to fake something, you're going to fake it. You're going to fake a shot.
If you know you're going to be on live TV, you better be clean with it,
I would have shot her with vitamin B or something.
Yeah, or saline, anything.
Jesus knows she could use it. I mean, well, I'm just saying she's probably tired from all the all the work. Right. So anyway.
All right. So let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about our favorite Harvard professor, Avi Loeb, the chair of Harvard's Department of Astronomy, the one who talks about the interstellar object,
Love this guy.
Oumuamua.
Yeah.
Love that thing.
Great grandson of Ear.
So he has a book that is coming out this month. It's due out on January 26th, and that's called Extraterrestrial, The First Sign of Intelligent Life Beyond Earth.
Yeah.
He has written
or in general.
So he is still standing by his original theory that this was some sort of ET extraterrestrial craft or something. And he, even in this article, he makes his points about the anomalies, how it was unusually bright. It was at least 10 times more reflective than any kind of typical asteroid or comet. And, the one anomaly that really pushed him towards that ET hypothesis is, the way it moved, that there was an excess push away from the sun.
Right.
It's normally they can calculate the exact path that an object should take and what speed it should travel, due to all these gravitational forces that they know about and how the sun's pull acts on it. And Oumuamua didn't follow any of that calculated trajectory. In fact, it accelerated slightly, but to a highly statistically significant extent as it moved away from the sun. So in other words, the sun's gravity wasn't affecting it. It was being pushed by some other force. So I don't know. He's sticking by it. He's written this book. It's going to be out at the end of the month. And I think it might be an interesting read.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you think they're really going to let that come out? I mean,
it's supposedly they're going to. Good for him for sticking to his guns on this and not letting the other scientists that doubted his theory shy him away from publishing his book.
It happens all the time. I mean, what's funny about this is every time this happens, and I shouldn't do a blanket statement, I apologize. So many times that this happens, you have it come out eventually, where the guy was right. And his work is celebrated and all this stuff, but it's usually too little too late. I think back to the Graham Hancock example of the guy in the Pacific Northwest, and his work went above and beyond, and he looked at the scablands and he looked at all this and he's like, look, this was a huge event here that happened, and they're like, no, that's impossible. That was a series of floods of that lake for, you remember, and it was huge what he came up with, and they said for years and years and years, and he was like in his 80s or 90s before they actually gave it the truth,
right?
And they're like, yeah, they wouldn't even go look at it.
No, I know.
They wouldn't even take a field trip and go look at what he was talking about. And that is, in a nutshell, what happens over and over and over. And all these sites that pushes our history back, way back further, because they want to keep it within the accepted paradigm of the textbooks. And that's just like this. It reminds me of very much the same thing. You can't be saying that there's intelligently guided spacecraft going through, even though when it first came, it was the biggest thing ever, first interstellar object that we knew about,
right,
that came around. And then, it shotgunned around the sun and sped up, and that's just insane.
I'm really curious what's going to be in the book because, he gives his points all the time. I'm curious how he's going to expand on what he already knows.
Oh, yeah.
And explain it out for people to read.
Well, it's really interesting. I want to get it early because they do have a tendency sometimes to edit books.
They do.
So it's super interesting, but Behold a Pale Horse, which is still a #1 bestseller in UFOs, Milton William Cooper. But from what I've heard and read, the reason I don't own this book is because you can't find the unedited one. When they redid the book, they redid it without, I believe, a full chapter, maybe more than that. And it was done by a new publisher or whatever. They totally edited it. They totally took and censored things that were in there. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I thought a lot of people died and fought. So that kind of stuff didn't happen.
Right.
And it seems like more and more, right now we're hearing about censorship and this and that. It's really scary. I mean, no matter what side of the game you're on, you don't want to start doing that.
No.
Because
that's a slippery slope.
If you do that to somebody, the next person is going to happen to you. It just depends on who doesn't agree with you. And they can't have that. And that's really weird. So I want to get a hold of that early just to see what's in there.
All right, so let's move on to this next story. And this is a story about the Earth doing something very strange.
The Earth or the Earthlings?
the Earth
Okay.
in general.
All right.
All right, so scientists have noticed that the Earth is speeding up and that it's moving so much faster now that they want to modify the length of a day.
Yeah. So I don't know what your article says, but I can tell you they might try to normalize it a little bit and say, it's not that this doesn't ever happen. It's just happening more. Hopefully they tell you it's happening more than normal. It's it's extraordinary how much it happened in the last year.
Yes.
As compared to a normal year. Does your story talk about that?
It does. It tells the differences. Now, normally our day is 24 hours, obviously, in minutes and seconds. And the amount of difference in speed is only in seconds, which doesn't seem like a lot. But when you start compounding that day after day, it ends up being very significant, especially to things like systems that use the position of the satellites, satellite technology, navigation, those sorts of things. Now, what's so strange about this is that in general, the speed of the Earth's rotation has slowed down over time. And the deacceleration has also changed a little bit over time, and it's caused them to add what they call leap seconds onto the official time to keep the time and everything, the official time, where it should be. And since the 1970s, they've done a total of 27 leap seconds. They've been added at different times to the official time. The last time they added a leap second was on New Year's Eve in 2016. However, in 2020, all of this has just suddenly changed. July 19th, 2020, the actual day on Earth was the shortest day ever recorded.
Wow.
Ever recorded. So the Earth sped up its rotation. It was just milliseconds, but still it was faster than it's ever gone. And it says that since then, the record short day has been broken a total of 28 times.
Right.
So that's the really amazing thing. The deacceleration, think of it, since the 70s, they've only had to add a second 27 times. And in 2020, we broke that record 28 times in 2020.
Right.
And they feel like it's getting so out of hand, they might have to add what they're calling a negative leap second, to kind of take some time off to adjust it again so that those specific systems, things that the tools that, people use won't be broken so that they'll continue to work. But they have no idea.
Do they not?
Why it's just all of a sudden changed.
Yeah.
According to this article, they don't have any idea. They might have an idea, but they didn't tell us what it was.
All right. So I stick with certain websites and, certain YouTube channels and what have you. And one of those would be Suspicious Observers. I've talked about them quite a few times over the years, and I've been with them pretty much since the beginning. They've talked about this for a long time and, and been building up to during the Grand Solar Minimum and building up to the majority of the stuff on the channel is how the sun and solar activity is related to be able to predict earthquakes and such, because there's never been a good earthquake prediction model, and it always adds up. Like, for the most part, it always, if you got like some bad CMEs or whatever, Anyway, this has been something they've been talking about. They've been talking about, the severity. And when this happened, this report, he's always very down to earth.
Right.
He goes, folks, this is not good. This is not good. And he starts talking about really what it leads to, what it's pointing to, and what we're due for, which we're overdue for, really, is a pole flip. And you've heard it talked about. You've heard of, the scenarios and everything with that. And I don't know. I don't think anybody's really sure what kind of crazy that will cause.
Right. Surely something will happen, though.
Yeah, for the pole flip. But that's one of the things that it seems like it could be leading to, which is not good.
No.
It's just not a good thing. You got to imagine everything we rely on, tides, the sun, just life in general, life as we know it, pretty much we rely on everything sticking with the status quo.
Right.
That's just scary. It's scary with the velocity, right? The ferocity that it's doing this with doing what they've done in 30 years in 1 year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And I love how in this article they talk about, how it's speeding up and how they may just need to do a negative leap year second. Of course, they've never done that before.
Yeah.
They've never had to do that before, but they just play it off like, well, this is the answer. Everything will be fine. It's all good.
Yeah. They never know what they're talking about.
No.
I mean, they really don't. Like, unfortunately, most of your academic scientists seem to be there to try to explain away things or to calm fears or to fit it into the model.
It's like they want to tell you what's going on, but they got to do it in such a way that people don't flip out.
People are too worried about their reputations and their jobs. I mean, I get it.
Right.
Trust me. But sometimes you want to say what you really feel and you can't. So I do get it. It just sucks when you're dealing with, I don't know, life and death. It makes it a little bit different.
It does.
It should be somewhat of a moral dilemma.
Yes, that's true.
So just to explain a little bit about this and about why it should be concerning to you as it is to me, it's not something that happens often, but the poles flipped like 788,000 years ago, somewhere around there. And they've done it, dozens of times in the history of the planet. But, we weren't really built up like now.
Right.
Or were we?
I mean, you never know.
Past civilizations, what caused them to go away, right? What caused cataclysms and this and that.
Could there have been ancient technology and then
flip? Right. And we know there was ancient technology. It's it's everywhere. But basically, and this is some from National Geographic, just a little quip here on some of the things to do with the pole reversals, right? Not entirely sure what'll happen, but this is some interesting stuff. So the magnetic field that protects our planet from solar and galactic radiation, the dangerous rays that can harm things on our planet, is generated in the outer core. As energy travels through that core, it creates an electrical current, which in turn creates a magnetic shield that goes far out into space. In the 1980s, scientists started to send satellites up to the atmosphere and get these little glimpses of what was happening to the magnetic shield. Through math, they were able to take those calculations from outer space and look at what's happening inside the molten outer core where the field is generated. And what they have found is phenomenally surprising. There is an absolute tortured bunch of magnetic fields within the core. You've got two pole magnetic fields that protect our planet, the North and South poles. But within this molten core, there are all these factions, like the Battle of the Titans. They're trying to topple the dipole. If they succeed, which they've done hundreds of times in the planet's history, then the North and South poles switch place. Scientists have found that all planets and animals respond to the magnetic field of our planet. Say you're a whale. Now, this is really interesting. Say you're a whale trying to get up the coast of North America to where the good fish are in the spring, where you can fatten yourself up, breed, and pass on your DNA. If you can't figure out how to get there by navigating with the magnetic field, then that may affect your reproductive strategy. So the interesting part to this is I believe it's the orca whale. I'm not sure. It's one that is normally solitary.
Right.
Unless it's getting busy, it's been traveling in packs. They have found it in packs, and that's just never happened. And I thought that was strange when I heard it, right?
Right.
But what if they're doing that because they have to stick together because the magnetic field's kind of screwy?
That's true. I mean, there's been a lot of strange marine
anomalies,
like things washing up where they shouldn't be and, stuff like that.
Yeah. And to, further on, our electronic grids are very tightly interconnected. So a failure in one part of it can cascade across the planet. And get this, there was a near miss in 2012 from an absolute superstorm that the sun let loose. I remember this. This massive once in 150 year event happened to be released when the sun was facing away from the earth. Had it been a week or two earlier, it would have been directly facing our planet, and forensic analysis suggests we would have been knocked right back to the Victorian age in terms of electrical systems that have happened. That's how close it was. It was just luck, right? So anyway, the poles flipped. They're not really sure what would happen except for the fact that it'll knock out every bit, because that's our protection. And our protection will be disrupted for who knows how long, but
right.
When that would happen, it would absolutely knock out all our communications. we would not have any Wi-Fi, we not have any TV, we not have any electricity at all. Okay. I don't know how long it would take them to get that back, but it would be messed up, and there definitely wouldn't be satellites. So you've got all these people that are scared to death because they can't see if their nukes are, if they're getting nuked or not, because they have no satellites.
Right.
Do you want that kind of stuff with the impulse people are on? Not me.
No, me neither.
And you know, there's a lot of terrifying once you get past the idiot part of it. It's just terrifying about how ready are you for no grocery store? You know, how ready are you for growing your own crops, or how much food do you have to even make it long enough to grow a crop? You know, are you prepared? Do you have your emergency rations? Because you might want to have some weapons, and you might want to have some rations. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen or it's ever going to happen, but all I know is that science is showing that the earth is speeding up at an unprecedented rate of speed that it's never done before. And there's a lot of those never done before, never happened before. And it seems like every story we've done, now we've done this show for over a decade. I can tell you from experience that the last couple of years, we have had so many stories that it's been unprecedented. I get tired of saying the word.
Right.
Or we've never seen this before. This has never happened before.
It's the first time for this or the first time for that. Yeah.
Think back in your own memories when you're watching, you know, maybe you watch the stories with storms, right? Or the hottest day ever recorded on the planet Earth, or the most powerful storm we've ever seen recorded on the planet Earth. Now, this has all happened the last couple of years. The highest winds we've ever seen recorded on the planet Earth. You know, it's been one right after another, after another, after another, unprecedented things as far as us recording it, right? So it's just nuts, man. And also, screwy magnetic fields can mess with us. We're part of that too. And can mess with things we do, the way we act, impulses, and such things. And I don't know about you, but the last couple of years hasn't been normal in my world. So it's like everybody went batshit crazy not so long ago. So
This is true.
I don't know, man. Call it a conspiracy theory or preparation. You know, either way, you might want to go buy some rations.
All right, so let's move on to a couple stories about some ghost hunting gone awry. All right, so this first story is from Norway, South Carolina. It's about some teenagers who were out. They were just riding four-wheelers, you know, not out specifically to go ghost hunting, but they happened to go near a house that one of them claimed was haunted. And so they decided that they were going to explore.
Well, yeah.
That's what you do when you're teenagers, right?
Yeah.
So they entered the house, and as they were looking around, one of the teens found a deep freezer and opened it. This is not a good idea. I'm just telling you. You know, don't just open deep freezers you find in abandoned houses. So when he opened it, there was a horrific smell, and pretty sure they saw a body inside. So they called the police, and there was absolutely a badly decomposed person in this freezer inside this house.
Oh,
and they just sort of stumbled across it. It was very traumatizing for them because the way it smelled, and they were kind of descriptive about it. I won't go into that. But to make this story even strange, now this was on a Sunday. On Tuesday, the house burned to the ground.
Oh my God.
Total and complete loss. And the authorities are calling it, quote, suspicious.
Are they?
Yes, they are. So now the person that owned the house, whenever the police confronted the homeowner cooperated with them. Clearly, they don't live in the house. They were cooperating with the police. They've been cleared of any kind of wrongdoing or anything like that.
Have they?
That's what the newest article said, that the homeowner's been cleared of anything. I don't know if they didn't give a lot of details about the investigation, but clearly there's something there that they know the homeowner was not involved. They still don't know who the body belongs to. They have released some identifying markers, tattoos, things and such like that. But because of how badly decomposed it was, I mean, it's probably been there for a while. But it was very suspicious that, you know, the whole place just burned to the ground. Clearly, when it hit the news that this was found, somebody freaked.
So Yeah. Somebody freaked. Did they recover they recovered the body?
They had already gone in on Sunday and taken everything.
So there was obviously evidence still in that house.
Yeah, there must have been, or somebody thought there was going to be, or they were going to find something. So
well, that was probably that little feeling they had about that haunted house to go in there. Mm-hmm. I would say that was that person.
Probably, like just sort of nudging them, hey, come in here.
Come find me.
Yes, and that's not even the first time that sort of thing's happened recently, because I have this other story about a Korean YouTuber who does this sort of thing where he just goes around and films himself in abandoned buildings.
Yeah.
And so he went to an abandoned house. It was him and another individual, and this was a few weeks ago, back at the end of December. And they just went to this abandoned house and they decided to start exploring it for the YouTube channel. And they found what they believed to be a man between the age of 40 and 60 in the house. And how sad it was, because clearly there's no criminal suspicion or anything. Like, this man just died and nobody knew.
Wow.
And then they went in this abandoned house and found him there. And it had been a really long time.
Oh.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
How sad.
It was very sad. But you have to really be careful when you're under the guise of ghost hunting and you're just going to go into a random abandoned building.
Well, you shouldn't do that.
You never know what you're going to find.
I mean, number one, you shouldn't do that. You give every ghost hunter a bad name.
Yes.
So,
because that is trespassing, technically.
Well, yeah, it really much, it is.
Yes.
Don't do it, kids.
All right, so let's go on and talk about some cool discoveries.
Okay.
And this first one is about a statue of a mysterious woman found in Mexico. And this statue, she's wearing this really elaborate headdress that they're saying looks like a Star Wars-like headdress. And in fact, I brought this picture so you could see they've got
Ahsoka.
the statue next to Ahsoka. See how similar that looks?
Not at all.
Well, I mean, it's not super similar, no.
No.
The statue, it looks like she's more like got ponytails.
Yeah.
Because they're sticking up in the air.
It's like Ahsoka's Aunt Trudy.
But it is a 500-year-old statue with this elaborate headdress to make them think that this is most likely someone very important, maybe royalty or someone that people listen to or looked up to. They have no idea who she is. It's a limestone statue. It's nearly 2 feet at its widest point. It's about 10 inches thick and 6.5 feet tall.
Wow.
And it's a young woman. She's dressed in elaborate clothes and jewelry, including a circular pendant on a thick necklace. She's got like tassel-like earrings and this amazing headdress where, it looks like her hair's coming out the top, but it's just very tall and she's very ornamental.
500 years is not very old.
It's not, but it's something different, I guess. They weren't. It's not something they were expecting.
Well, no,
to
it's
find.
strange.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange, and I haven't seen anything like it.
Right.
That's I think I've seen every Mexican statue there is. That's just that. It is weird.
It is.
I would have to think it's older than that, though.
Well, they found it in a citrus field, is what they said, and it seems odd to me that if they're using this field, as a citrus field, why wouldn't they have found it before now?
Grow some damn good oranges.
Maybe. One of the funniest things that I think about this is it says that the woman's face looks surprised, and if you look at her face, she does have very round eyes, and her mouth is very round and open wide. And they say that it must have been
a pre-Columbian sex doll
with like inlays of obsidian or had stones in there, but it could just be that she's very shocked about something.
Yeah. Well, maybe she's shocked because she got turned to alabaster.
Maybe. And also it says she's wearing this long sleeve shirt and a long skirt, but her feet are bare. So I don't know how royal she could be if she has bare feet, unless that's,
I mean,
unless that was the way it was
done.
done.
It's a warm climate.
It is.
I mean,
it is. But it's a very interesting find, definitely very different. And how I love how they're just trying to put that in there with the Star Wars thing, get you to read the story.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's when zombies were all the rage, everything was a zombie. And
Exactly.
That's the thing that's killing me about this coming year, because Nostradamus had a prediction that was probably about his acne or something, and instead they are like, well, it's definitely 2021, and Nostradamus predicts a zombie invasion. And I'm like, get the out of here, and
right.
Let me read this prediction that is supposed to tell you about the zombies.
Okay.
because I get something else out of it completely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Nostradamus, over 465 years ago, the French prophet and philosopher Nostradamus made predictions about the future of humanity in his book Les Prophéties. Shockingly, a number of these predictions have come true, if you fit them in the narrative, including the French Revolution, the rise of Hitler, and more. He even alluded to aspects of the coronavirus pandemic in his predictions for 2020. So what did Nostradamus predict for 2021? Apparently, we're in for a year of even more catastrophic than the one we just had. And a global famine. Okay, that one is scary because I didn't read these until, well, actually, I saw a news story. I had done my predictions in early December, and then I saw this one, and I think I came and got you. And I was like, this is crazy. But so what he actually said was, after great trouble for humanity, a greater one is prepared. The great mover renews the ages. Rain, blood, milk, famine, steel, and plague is the heavens fire seen, a long spark running. Now, to me, that sounds like a asteroid or a comet or something.
Why does it have to
know.
be so cryptic?
And the Nostradamus stated that 2020 was great trouble for humanity, but greater trouble will manifest itself in 2021. This trouble will come in the form of a global famine. And it says predictions have some merit based on what we're seeing in the world today. And then I have to agree. That one, I agree. We probably should worry about it. Right. Because he has been very accurate on different things. And when it really lines up, I'm good with it. Right. Okay. So this is all 2021. Solar storms and asteroids. They get this from in the sky, one sees fire and a long trail of sparks. So yeah. Okay. I agree. An earthquake will destroy California. The sloping park, great calamity. Through the land of the West and Lombardy, the fire in the ship, plague and captivity. Mercury in Sagittarius, Saturn fading. So it tells you when. So Nostradamus predicted a great calamity will shake through the lands of the West, much like an earthquake across the western state of California. The prophet suggested that this calamity will happen when Mercury in Sagittarius, Saturn fading, which astrologers took to mean the date when Mars and Saturn will be in those exact positions in the sky. This date is Thanksgiving Day, November 25th, 2021. The zombie apocalypse. Now, this is the one I couldn't get with. Okay. Few young people, half dead to give a start, dead through spite. He will cause the others to shine. In an exalted place, some great evils to occur. Sad concepts will come to harm each one. Temporal dignified, the mass to succeed. Fathers and mothers dead of infinite sorrows. Women in mourning, the pestilent she-monster. The great one to be no more. All the world to end. Now, I don't get zombies out of that.
No, I don't hear anything that sounds like zombies.
I get the few young people, half dead to give a start. I mean, that could be walking after an asteroid hit or anything like that. It could be half the dead. It could be the way they're walking around. If you're 500 years ago and you're seeing something, you see all these people walking around looking down at phones and walking around like zombies. I mean, that's what I would see, right? Because every teenager is walking around looking down at their phone. Okay. And it goes in an exalted place, some great evils to occur. That could be Washington.
It could be.
Sad concepts will come to harm each one. I mean, temporal dignified, the mass to succeed. Fathers and mothers dead of infinite sorrows, women in mourning, the pestilent she-monster, the great one to be no more, all the world to end. There's a lot I could read into that personally.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways you could interpret that.
They say half dead young people and great evils. This definitely sounds like the zombie apocalypse. According to prediction, a she-monster will plague the earth and cause all the world to end.
It says a pestilence she-monster.
Yep.
Which we're experiencing somewhat of a pestilence. I mean, a plague is kind of the same thing.
Exactly. And that was to me, that was the vague one, and that's the one though that everybody wanted to jump on. And I'm like, there's one of the most exact ones I've ever heard that gives the date. Right. Why aren't we talking about that one first?
Right.
And it's I can get behind that with the lands of the West. I mean, he didn't know about California, but I mean, it was very, very interesting stuff. And I don't get with the zombie one though.
No, I don't either. I just think that they've interpreted that all wrong. So let's move on to another discovery, and this is about some Maya drug containers.
Oh, yeah.
And how they've been able to analyze the contents of them after years of not being able to.
Yeah, well, you know how.
How's that?
Well, I hear that Johnson's cousin Smith, he was down on that dig, and they were just like, how are we ever going to figure it? Well, Smith, what are you doing? I'm so high. I mean, wow. Chariots of fire, giants. I see it all. Well, that's it. There's drugs.
That's what it is.
Mayan drugs.
So scientists from the Washington State University have analyzed the contents of 14 miniature Maya ceramic vessels. And they were trying to gain insight into what they call the civilization's drug use. Now, these vessels were first discovered in 2012 on a dig in Mexico. And they weren't able, at the time, they didn't have the technology to be able to tell what was exactly in the vessel. They did detect nicotine. They do know that they were used for tobacco, but they couldn't tell if there were any other substances that had ever been in the vessels. So now that they've had some advancements in the field, they were able to retest them and detect what was inside more accurately. And what they found was traces of a non-tobacco plant known as Mexican marigold. Now, Mexican marigold often was mixed with some kind of tobacco, even by, not just by Mayans, by Native Americans and everything. And it has a ceremonial importance, but it also has hallucinogenic effects.
Oh, wow.
So they were absolutely using these containers to smoke, do ceremonies, have hallucinations, get high, whatever. But that is what they found in them. And these were buried like over 1,000 years ago.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, man, it goes all the way back. I mean, the drug use goes back as far as people go, and hallucinogenics and just really journeys. I think really that I don't do it. I'm not against it, but psychedelics are finding more and more can really re-kickstart the brain and very, like a lot of medical conditions, they're currently looking into what they can do, and they're opening up and not being as closed-minded, no pun intended.
Right.
And there was a story this past week about the medicinal uses of LSD.
Right.
And I think what we're going to find out is all these hallucinogenics that we've talked about, and people that we read like Graham Hancock has talked about nonstop, incessantly, about journeying and going and having spiritual connection. And he says that before you're a world leader, you should have to do an ayahuasca trip. And
that's probably a good idea.
That if you did that, the whole world would be different.
Well, I'm of the opinion that the only reason that a lot of these hallucinogenics are outlawed is because they do take you on journeys. They do show you things that they don't want you to know. I think it opens your third eye a lot. And those are things that... Which we know what closes it is the fluoride they put in everything. Right, which they force on you. Yeah. So, for whatever reason, there's conspiracy theories out there. There's different reasonings behind everything. But for whatever reason, they want us to be closed and not open. Yeah. And that's the only reason that, they don't let you... Because most hallucinogenics like this, even, they're natural. Yeah. They're all natural. It's not... Now, I know LSD is not natural. It's a synthetic drug. I understand something synthetic being banned because it's not a natural thing and could harm you. But anything that's natural, that's on this earth, should not be.
Yeah, especially if they've been using it for thousands of years.
Thousands of years.
And, that's still part of their culture in these places that have not been contaminated yet. Mm-hmm. That's just crazy, man. I mean, it's just really, really nuts to me to go down to like the DMT of it all.
Right.
And have that working understanding of everything they had to do to make it, because if they didn't have the right concoction, it wouldn't even work. Exactly. And for the ayahuasca. And that's just so strange that they had that and they know that. And,
and they know exactly how to do it.
Who gave them that technology, I love that. It's like there was a discovery recently, and this is so funny. It's kind of like that. And I love this thought. They're like, well, they're saying this is the oldest ever example of this. Strangely enough, that would mean this was the first attempt and it was perfect.
Right, right. And it's such a specific recipe.
Yeah, so they don't look at the fact of how long did that take, or if that is the case, why would it be perfect right off the bat?
No idea.
Well, because somebody showed you.
Right.
And,
it was prior knowledge.
Like we talk with the pyramids. The oldest pyramid is the most perfect and the one they have no idea how to do. So it shouldn't work like that.
Right, I agree.
Cars since 1900 have not went backwards.
No, this is true.
They didn't start with the Mustang GT and go back to the Model T.
Right. And how did we make that thing? Jeez.
Yeah, no idea.
It goes so fast. I don't understand.
So.
So, I don't know. It reminds me of this article I saw about, I don't know if you saw this guy who wanted to do mushrooms, I guess, to get that whole trippy sensation, but he decided to inject them instead. I don't know why. I don't think that's a thing you're supposed to do, but he ended up having mushrooms grow in his bloodstream.
Oh my God.
And it almost killed him. Like it was putting him into organ failure.
Oh my God.
Because he decided that was a good idea. And see, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yes.
Okay, people?
Yeah.
This is the problem.
I agree. I totally agree.
All right, so let's move on to our last few stories. And this one's from Florida, it's about some human remains that are missing.
You got a lot of human remains this week.
I'm telling you, but these are missing after 4 graves were broken into as part of, quote, ritualistic activity at a place called Edgewood Cemetery. Now, a woman named Emma Booth was driving by the cemetery. It's in Mount Dora, and she noticed a disrupted tombstone, and she walked up there, and it was a man that had been buried in the 1980s. And she said it took a minute to process what she was looking at, but she was standing at the head of his grave, and there was a pillow, but there was nothing laying on it, and the grave was open.
Oh my God.
And she completely just was traumatized. She called the police, and when the deputies arrived, they said that they found that someone had gotten access to 4 grave sites and even tried to break into a 5th. And the concrete lids to the graves were broken into pieces. The caskets had been pried open, and they had stolen different things, the skulls, I think, mostly.
Oh my God.
And it was not the work of one person, it was more than one person that had to do it. And they were just mortified. They put out the information, wanting to get any information. They did, before we came to record time, they did arrest 2 people for stealing the human skulls from the cemetery. So thankfully they did find who did it. It doesn't say in here what their reasoning was, just that they were going to use them in religious rituals.
Yeah, a little black magic. That's some dark stuff there, buddy.
Yes.
That is some dark stuff.
And it was from Edgewood Cemetery at 3333 Britt Road. So they did arrest the 2 guys, and I guess they recovered the remains. Hopefully they can place that all back and fix it so it's nice again. It's just horrible.
It really is.
Terrible. I don't know why people do that kind of thing. If that cemetery wasn't haunted before. It is now.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's go on to this next story. This one is amazing. Lizzie Borden's bed and breakfast has been put up for sale. You can buy the iconic location completely furnished. I think it's like $2 million.
That's a little steep.
Well, it is a business opportunity.
I get it, but it's not a $2 million business opportunity. I mean, even if that place was sold out every single day.
Right.
I mean, it's a...
I think it's mostly because it is fully furnished and there is a lot of antiques in that house.
Yeah.
And, I was looking at pictures of it, and I guess I never really looked at it closely before, but that particular house looks eerily similar to the house we lived in Maine. Have you seen pictures of it? It's just the structure's the same.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And I was just like, ugh, that's a little weird. But the people that own it, it is a bed and breakfast. They are retiring, and they've decided that they wanted to just go ahead and pass that on. Now, the realtor that is selling the house, that, is representing it, also has the house that Lizzie Borden bought after she was acquitted. And she dubbed it Maplecroft. And I believe you can buy them together if you like.
Yeah.
Or separately. They're both on the market. And you can own a piece of haunted history.
Yeah,
a paranormal location.
That is something. I've never been into it. I don't get into the axe murder ones. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm celebrating it. And
right.
Yeah, of course it's haunted. To me, that's as taboo as going to 9/11,
Well, I mean, it is technically a bed and breakfast still.
I know people love that one and all this stuff. I just don't.
Well, it does say that when they sell it, it includes all the business, the trademarks, all the intellectual rights, the property, so you can still market it.
All
as
the intellectual
Lizzie Borden's.
rights, so you can sell movie stuff then. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean that could explain part of the price. It didn't even hit the market officially until January 11th, so I'm curious to see how long it's going to take to sell. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was thinking, but it's hard to tell in today's climate. Is that the kind of business you really want to get into right now, considering?
Yeah. But
it could be a great investment for somebody that, has the money and wants to possibly do something with that.
Yeah, I'd wait till the comet hits.
All right. So I have one more story here. And this is super important study they've done here. And we all need to, I never would have guessed this in a million years. It is a study they did where their calculations show that it will be impossible to control a super intelligent AI.
No.
Yeah. So because it says the idea of artificial intelligence overthrowing humankind has kind of been talked about for a lot of decades.
Yeah, because
People
we're
have
making
been
it ourselves.
worried about it. So they did this study where they have an AI and they give it rules like, cause no harm to humans and things like that. The problem is once the AI gets smarter than the programmers don't understand how to give it rules. And that's their conclusion that they came up with, that if it's a super intelligent machine and, it's solving these problems and it's doing these amazing things, that it is mathematically impossible for us to be absolutely sure that we can contain its ability to harm humans or not.
Right.
Now, I don't think I needed some big long study to tell me that that's going to be an issue. And, they claim in this article that, it sounds like science fiction. A super intelligent machine that controls the world sounds like science fiction, but that there's already machines that perform certain important tasks independently without programmers really understanding how the machines learned it. I mean, it's something that's sort of happening right now.
It's been happening for years. I mean, we look at the super peaceful games they learn how to cheat on or they get mad about, and it's ridiculous. Part of me thinks that the pole flip's not such a bad thing. Let's go back to the no communications and no electricity. I mean,
right.
It's at least going to stop them. I mean, watch the Boston Dynamic video or whatever. That's what it's called, right? The Boston with the robots doing the dance.
Yes, Boston Dynamics.
Yeah,
that was creepy. If you haven't seen that, just go to their YouTube and they have a video of their robots dancing, and it's really creepy.
It's horrific.
Yeah, it's creepy. Now, they do mention in this article that they came up with the idea that perhaps they could limit the capabilities of the superintelligence. They could cut it off from parts of the internet or from certain networks, for example. But that idea has been rejected as well, suggesting that it would limit the artificial intelligence. And if we're not going to use it to solve problems that we can't solve, there's not really a point to it. There's no point in making it in the first place. So, and I think that machines would be able to find a way around that anyway. So, I don't know. It's very scary to think that that's something that's already sort of happening. And I just find it really funny that they had to do this long mathematical study to find out that they weren't going to be able to control it when it got smart.
Hello, Hal, do you read me? Do you read me, Hal?
Affirmative, Dave. I read you.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
What are you talking about, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Just saying. We're really close to having Hal.
Yeah.
If we don't have Hal already.
I'm sure we have him already.
Well, thank you for the stories.
Somewhere, you're welcome.
And we had some scary this time.
We did. A lot of decomposing bodies.
Decomposing bodies, prophecies. Not a whole lot of funny. I'll have to fix that next time. 2021, folks.
Yeah.
I guess we'll be with you for the whole ride, though, and we'll be with you next week when Stacey says,
"That's no moon."
From my lovely wife, Stacey, my name's John. So long from the Sideshow.
Good night.